Hi, listeners. We're excited to tell you that you can now register for our free webinar, How Today's Successful Leaders Avoid Burnout and Create Work-Life Balance Without Changing Jobs. If you've been listening to our podcast for a while, you know that we've been helping leaders like you deal with exhaustion, guilt, and burnout from escalating demands, resource challenges, and constant change. If you're feeling exhausted before you even get to work, uncertain how much longer you can continue at this pace, and emotionally, mentally, and physically drained at the end of the day, then you're probably doing one or more of the following. Prioritizing the needs of your team, organization, and family, and neglecting to spend any time taking care of yourself. Staying late at work most days or making yourself available 24/7 answering texts and emails and phone calls. Saying yes to requests to take on more responsibility or projects when what you want to say is no. And choosing to work harder and more, which leads to you sacrificing time with family and friends. Are we right? That's why this webinar is perfect for you. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you will keep getting the same result. And what you really want is to have a positive impact at work and be a positive role model at home. Be highly respected at work and have a healthy relationship with your partner or spouse. In the webinar, we will share the secret ingredient and proven process for creating work-life balance, avoiding burnout, and living a fulfilling life at work and home. So go over to missinglogic.com/new-events to learn more and register now. This is Healthcare's Missing Logic podcast, episode number 224. Can you imagine that?
I can.
Yeah. And this week's Encore episode is How to Become the CEO of Your Life. And you'll learn very quickly, this is a passion of mine. I love this topic. I just think this is, what I was going to say is probably not appropriate for the podcast. I'll keep it clean, folks. But we chose this because we're still seeing that many leaders out there, they aren't happy. They're not experiencing a lot of joy in their life. Many of them are burned out or exhausted. And that's why we're re-airing this. It's just, it's just a critical topic and very valuable still.
Yeah. And the reason we are also re-airing this is because we've had a lot of experience in working with leaders who have discovered they are the CEO of their own life. And what we can tell you is when leaders grab onto this fact, this truth, it changes everything for them. Yeah. And it's a game changer. And what it comes down to is it's really just a belief thing. It's what you believe about yourself. And it's so important to revisit this right now. And as you listen to this, we're going to challenge you to really consider yourself. Do I believe that I am the CEO of my life?
Yeah. And I mean, because ultimately, you're responsible for the results you get, no matter what they are, the good results and the not so good results, right? We're responsible for our choices, for the lives that we live. And the thing is that we make some mistakes that contribute to the results that we're getting, that are contributing to the unhappiness, to the lack of joy. And we talk about that in this episode. So it's just really, it's an eye opener, right? That it's not just everything that's happening around us that's contributing to how we're feeling. It's some of the choices and some of the mistakes that we are making as individuals and some of the choices, right? So we talk about this. We talk about how you contribute to the circumstances that you're experiencing. And we talk about how when you step into being the CEO of your life, you take ownership for those results. And we can't control everything that happens around us, but there are things that we can control. And we step into being the CEO of our life, we take that control. And so we know you want control of your life. You really want to be the CEO of your life. So let's learn how. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Healthcare's Missing Logic podcast. This is the only podcast that shows you how to leverage polarity intelligence, an essential competency for healthcare leaders, and the missing logic in healthcare, so you can create healthy, healing organizations and become a thriving, resilient, and unstoppable healthcare leader.
We are your hosts, Tracy Christofferson and Michelle Trosett. We've been best friends and colleagues for over 30 years. And during that time, we coached healthcare leaders across North America around how to create healthy, healing organizations.
Today, we coach healthcare leaders and leadership teams to live thriving, resilient, and balanced lives, combat burnout, and create the best places to give and receive care.
This podcast is for the unsung hero of healthcare, the healthcare leader. We want you to know we see you and we'll be here for you each week. In this podcast, we're going to challenge healthcare's industry norms, flip limiting beliefs, and share proven strategies so you can be your best self at work and at home, live and lead intentionally, and experience well-being and joy.
We are glad you are here and look forward to sharing the journey with you. If you aren't totally convinced this podcast is for you, just listen to a few episodes and convince yourself. Hi, everyone. Guess who I am? Welcome back to another episode of Healthcare's Missing Logic podcast. And you guessed it, it's Michelle.
And I'm Tracy. We thought maybe we'd switch things up a little bit, right?
Yes.
Try a little something different. And guess what? Everybody's getting a promotion today.
Yes.
A promotion. Did you know that? You are now a CEO.
Congratulations.
Yes. Congratulations. Today, we're giving everybody the title of CEO because we believe everybody is the CEO of their own life. And own it.
Yes.
Right?
Versus someone else's life?
Exactly. Or somebody else owning your life, right?
That's exactly right.
Exactly. Yeah. So, when you're the CEO of your own life, you've got some personal power there you're yielding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
That's right.
Yeah. You're really clear on your purpose. most CEOs are clear on their purpose, what they're there to do, and they're responsible.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's this three combination of characteristics as a CEO that we're going to be talking about today and what it takes to really live those characteristics and own your life. Own the results you get because you really kind of do anyway. You get what you're getting, right? So if you're being the CEO, you can make better choices, have a better life. If you're not being the CEO, you're kind of getting what somebody else is doing for you, right?
Yep. And then you can have your own, the buck stops here in your life.
That's right. Yeah.
And own it. Own it, right?
Yeah. Live large, man.
Yeah.
Live large.
I'm in charge and living large.
That's right. Woo. It's kind of scary to be in charge of your life.
Oh.
Just like it's scary to be in charge of an organization or a business.
Yes.
Right? Because really you do have the responsibility. You only get what you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot easier to be an employee and let somebody else deal with the backlash of what's being done or not done. But when you own it, you got to own it. So you can create it too.
You can. And in our work with healthcare leaders for the past many, many months, many of which have been in the pandemic era, sadly, a lot of people don't realize they do have control to be CEO of their own life. They have a limited belief that they are not in control. And they fall victim to I'm not the CEO. This is just the way that it is. I'm just going to settle here where I'm at. Yep. They make the necessary sacrifices that they need to make as leaders. And wow, we're just going to challenge that way of thinking on the podcast today, that this is just the way that it is, and I'm not the CEO of life. And we're going to share a success story at the end of the podcast. So hang on one of our coaching clients that actually made that turn in a big way.
Yeah, she did. So, it's probably helpful to know, how will I know if I'm not being the CEO of my life? So we thought we'd share that as well, right? So kind of keep this in mind, be thinking about, are you giving yourself a check or you're not giving yourself a check in these categories, right?
Yep.
So
get that little piece of paper
if you are not acting like the CEO of your life, then basically you're deferring, you're putting off decisions that are really in your best interest or serve your purpose. So if you are somebody who is doing that, you're not being the CEO of your life. If you're not being the CEO of your life, you're using your circumstances as an excuse to not do the other things in your life that are in your best interest or serve you and your purpose, right?
That's true.
And you're not taking full responsibility for those outcomes. Ooh, that kind of hurts.
That's where the buck stops.
That's where the buck stops, right? You're not being responsible for the outcomes you're getting because there isn't anybody else who is responsible. And you're not using your personal power to delegate, because we can delegate as a CEO, right? Or, just to get what needs to be done, right? Mm-hmm. Or leverage other resources to get what needs to be done. Mm-hmm. And you're not doing that. Mm-hmm. You're not using that power, the personal power that you have.
Right.
So,
and that just causes frustration in your life, right? And after a while, you just want to go, help!
Somebody rescue me. That's what happens to me when I'm doing this. I'm looking for somebody to rescue me and take care of it for me, and that ain't going to happen.
Come take me away.
Yeah, that's right.
And, actually you feel that sense of I'm just drowning, I'm overwhelmed, things keep piling up, and it gets out of control pretty fast.
Can't somebody do something about this?
Yeah.
That's kind of what's going on in your head, right?
And we understand that feeling. We've been there ourselves. And we know that as leaders, you have a lot of competing priorities right now. And it just makes it really hard. And it makes it really easy to almost say, well, this is just the way it is right now. This is just the way it is, right?
Yeah.
And then what happens over time, if you stay there too long, you do lose that connection and the purpose in your life, which then makes it impossible to be the CEO of your life.
Yeah. So we know really deep down what you want. You want to own it, right? You want a thriving life, right? You want to have everything in your life that you desire. And you really want to want to pull the trigger on that, right? You don't want to settle. Nobody wants to settle, right? You want to just be getting by. You want to really have a really powerful life and really step into who you are and who you can be and accomplish that.
Yes.
Because you're a leader. That's what leaders do. Right?
So you want to be a thriving, resilient, unstoppable leader.
Yes.
Who is the CEO of your life and is large and in charge. And that means you're really clear on your purpose. That you take the time to do that. You're empowered and you recognize you're responsible to design your own life exactly the way you want it. And you're not going to settle for less.
That's right.
And that you're in control of your life, right? And you can make all those decisions. You don't have to rely on anyone else to do that. Mm-hmm. And actually, sometimes I think the hardest part, Tracy, is it's like, where do I start to get back on track?
Yeah.
If I checked off some of those boxes you just mentioned, what do I do next? How do I start? And that's where it's really helpful to kind of take that pause and do that reflection and get some guidance on how to be the CEO of your life.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think it's, it starts with mastering balance, right? And it is, taking the actions that you need to take to get the best of both in your professional and your personal life. Because being the CEO isn't just about your career. It's really about your whole life and understanding the nuances of that and what you really want, what your purpose is, your greater purpose for your professional and personal life collectively, what you want to achieve, and how to take the actions to make that happen, right? Mm-hmm. And there are strategies around that. And it's not any one thing. It's a unique combination of strategies that are really going to help you get there. And one of the first steps that we help people with is really beliefs. Mm-hmm. Because you have to monitor your beliefs. We've mentioned a few of those beliefs that people have. I'm not in control. I don't have a choice, right? This is just how it is. Those are the thoughts and beliefs that you have. And we have to monitor our thoughts because they're subconscious. We've kind of been indoctrinated with those beliefs. We don't even know we're thinking them.
That's the scary part.
It is, right? And so it's not just flipping them, it's recognizing what beliefs and thoughts you're having. And so we really teach people give them some, ways to monitor their thoughts, connect with those beliefs, understand they're having them. This is all a part of pillar number 1 in our dynamic balance effect framework, really around mindful choices. You can't make mindful choices if you don't know what kind of thoughts you're having or beliefs you're having that are holding you back, right? So
exactly.
We help people flip those beliefs, from I'm not in control to I control the things I can, right? Because we don't have a control over everything.
Right.
But there are things we control. So you flip that belief to there are things in my life I control. Might be I don't have a choice. Do I always have a choice? Because we do. We always have a choice, right? So again, just kind of moving beyond those beliefs and getting, past that barrier really helps you to step into being that CEO. I think the second thing is being responsible. To design that life, to really own that. This is kind of right up there, folks, with nobody's going to do your push-ups for you, okay? You really got to, yeah. This is the hard part. I mean, this is always the hard part for me because usually you don't take responsibility when something is pushing you outside your comfort zone. You tend to settle, not push through, not take the steps, not become who you need to be, not get the skill. You look for that person to rescue you. I mean, this is to me the part where all of that kind of starts to come out, right? And, it's just a reality.
Yes.
It's just a reality, right? You got to take the actions. You got to do the push-ups. And that's all a part of the balance piece, right? You got to know what actions to take. And that's all a part of pillar number 2, polarity intelligence, which is what we talk a lot about here at the podcast, is really understanding what are the push-ups I got to do to get this outcome that I want as the CEO of my life, right? And own it and take the responsibility to take the steps.
Exactly. How
many push-ups do I have to do today to have that beautiful body that I want or that health, right, that I'm looking for? Teresa might. She won't do them for me. So
Nope. You're on your own, girl. I got my own to do.
Dang it.
Well, and the third thing is to get realigned with your purpose and get really crystal clear on what your purpose is. Again, if you're going to be the CEO of your life, you have to be really clear on your purpose and your vision, and just make that alignment. That's so, so important. And during the pandemic, as you've heard us say before, but it's so true, is we can lose sight of our purpose because of everything that's going on. And we spent a lot of time on that in pillar number 3 of the dynamic balance effect framework as well.
Yeah. And you can just get caught up in the drift, right? It's rough seas out there.
Yes. Yeah.
And you can get just tossed around and get caught up and get lost, lose your compass of which way is up, where's my true north, right? Because you're just so in it. So I think that's it's just such a great point. And and I think sometimes in my life, when somebody said, okay, write a purpose statement, it felt kind of daunting. My purpose, oh my gosh, right? It feels like it's so big. But I think we do that with people in a way that it kind of chunks it down into small pieces and then they can see the whole, right? When you find your purpose in different aspects of your life, you can see the whole of your life come together. And so I think there's some unique ways we do that.
Yeah, I think so too. And it can change too.
Oh, yeah.
Your purpose can change as you evolve and as you grow. And so it's really important, to your point, to just take the time to do that.
Well, and when you're the CEO, you can give yourself the agency to change your purpose.
Yes, you can. Because you're in control.
Because you're the CEO. So you can say, all right, you can give yourself permission to let go of what was and step into what can be, right?
Yep.
Into a new purpose and a new direction, a new true north, right?
Yes.
Oh, gosh, that's exciting.
So to summarize, the things you need to think about are creating empowering beliefs and getting better outcomes through having that more balanced approach to life, and then getting clear in your purpose, because they're all the key of really stepping into being that CEO of your life.
Yeah. So we got some questions for you, some reflection questions. They actually, just for you to just think on for yourself based on these, 3 things that we've laid out are really important to being the CEO. And the first one really is, do you feel empowered in your life? And just reflect on these, just really think, am I feeling like I'm a victim, or am I feeling like I'm empowered in my life, that I have choice, that I have agency? This is kind of a gut check for you. Really, what do you feel in your gut about this? Not what you just feel intellectually, because you might go, oh, yeah, I feel like I'm in control, but your gut might be telling you something different. And they are connected, folks. There is evidence on that, right? Now, the other thing is, here's a hard one. Am I taking full responsibility for my life? Because look around. Your life is a reflection, right, of the choices you're making, of the thoughts you're having, the things that you're doing or not doing. And so, are you really being responsible for the outcomes of your life? Or are you blaming your circumstances or blaming others or using excuses, as we mentioned before? So think about that. Are you taking full responsibility for your life? And do you feel clear on your purpose? Have you lost your way? Are you adrift?
Yeah.
Or do you still know what your purpose is? And, again, you can write it in a sentence, like just make it really clear, right? Like, and concise. But just, you need that clarity. So do you have it? Because if you answered no to any of these, like you don't have any of these, you're not being the CEO of your life.
Right.
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 So, these are really key questions. And if you said no, then I would suggest you get started. Right. And what's that feeling? Always check the gut feeling.
Oh, always check the gut. Yeah. You don't feel like you are, you're probably not.
Exactly.
And here's another way to look at it, because this is like, pow, right? If you are not being the CEO of your own life, then what you're really saying is somebody else's.
Yeah, you've given up your control, your power.
Somebody else is the CEO of your life, not you. That's like, wow.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it is true.
And so you're getting what you're getting. You're getting what you're getting. It's kind of like, when you work in a big organization, right? Like in the past, when we worked in, big global companies, right? The CEO was driving the direction of the company. And there came a time in our lives, right, where we didn't have that matchup with our purpose and the direction the company was going. And we had to make a hard choice. This isn't my purpose anymore. This isn't alignment for me. And we both made a choice to leave the organization. That CEO was driving the bus. Like, as long as we stood there, we were going where the CEO wanted to go, right? We had to make a choice to take control of our own lives and be the CEO of our life and own it. Own the results we were getting. Own that responsibility. If we wanted something different, it was time to do it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So just imagine you could do that too. Think about that, right? Like, you have agency. You're in control.
You've been promoted.
If you don't like who's driving the bus or where they're driving you, then you are promoted and you have a choice, right? So really think about that. Think about how different your life would be if you fully stepped into being the CEO of your life, really taking that responsibility, just having that clarity of purpose and moving yourself in that direction, with really positive action. It can change everything for you.
Yeah, like it did for one of our coaching clients.
Yes. Oh, my. So we have to just share the story with you. We had somebody that came into our boot camp, really looking to create some balance in their life, their personal, professional life. And the most profound things happens. People have to write things down, right? They have to put it on paper. And they have to put what they want, right? And we have a blueprint that they follow, and we have a process that you follow. And this individual came in just pretty burned out, looking for some balance in their life. But in the process of writing things down and getting clarity on the outcomes that they wanted, and specifically, they really came in knowing they were out of balance, wanting to create some balance in their personal life, but recognized all of a sudden, right? I am not where I want to be professionally, and I am not the CEO of my life, right? That person really realized that they felt like they didn't have any personal power. They had a lot of stories going on, right? I can't leave. This is how it's going to be. I don't have any choice. I'm not in control. And they were giving it up. They were giving up all their personal power to the organization they were a part of.
Yeah, and there was changes that were made within the organization. So there was feeling like, well, now I just gotta. This is what I got to deal with.
Yeah, and they had fears, and the fear was holding them back because they were afraid. What will people think? Or all kinds of little fears, right? That you have when you think about making a change, right? And just that was keeping them stuck. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it, right? But then they had this huge realization that, they had agency. And wait a minute, wait a minute. If I really want these things in my life, I could do this. My life actually could be different because I do have a choice. I am in control. There's nothing to fear.
Yeah. And I think the major realization came that if they didn't, that's where they would be for a long time.
Yeah, because we asked the question.
Yes.
Right? They were really kind of complaining about what was going on. We just said, okay, so here's the question. If you don't like where the bus is being driven in your life, how long are you going to stay on the bus?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you going to ride this bus for another 8-10 years until you retire and live this life that you're living right now for another 8 years or 10 years, or are you going to get off the bus?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was just like a 2x4 to the forehead. Like
Yes.
She was like, I don't want to live like this for the next 8 to 10 years, right? Like that was the motivator. Like the pain was great enough. And I realized that pain was going to be sustained over a long period of time if she didn't choose and really step into owning her life and being the CEO. And as soon as she had that realization and shifted her belief about who she was and took control as a CEO, a major opportunity opened up for her. Totally shifted her life. And she was prepared to take the position or not take the position.
Right. Because the clarity was there and the choice was there.
Exactly.
And that's what needed to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she knew I'm in control and I can choose this or I can choose something else. I don't have to settle.
That's right.
And she stepped right into being the CEO of her life. And she is so happy, just glowing joy all the time, where before it was just a lot of knitted brows and, just tension and angst and, it's just night and day, night and day.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that all started with just the first step to join our boot camp.
Yeah. Just having that initial realization and saying, you know what, I need to do more exploration here about what is going on in my life, because I have some things from my past. I have some things that are happening right now that I'm settling for, and I don't want it.
That's right.
It just started with that first inkling that something was wrong.
And what a great time to pause and reflect than the new year.
Yeah.
Which is where we're at right now.
Exactly.
So, and we are about to launch our next boot camp very, very soon. So, hey, join us.
Yeah.
It's the first step on becoming, other than we promoted you already.
Yeah, you're already the CEO. Now we're going to teach you how to do it, like how to really be the CEO of your life, right? And again, it comes down, we've said this previously, right? The quality of your life is about the quality of the questions you're asking yourself. And sometimes you don't even know what questions to ask. So I think what's happened in the boot camp is we're asking questions that people haven't thought about. They're taking the time to reflect and do their own work around it. And it's starting kind of the ripple in their life of change and, improvements, joy, sometimes huge leaps in transformation. And they're coming out on the other side of that in a much better way.
Yeah.
Owning it, man. They're owning it and creating it and living it. And so
I
exciting.
thought when we became co-founders of Missing Logic, we'd be CEO guides.
I know.
But actually, that's what it's sort of turning out to be.
Hey, all right. Now we got another title, another salutation.
Oh, well, listen, thank you so much for being with us for another episode. And we just think this is a really important concept, a mental concept to bring forward, a heart concept to bring forward, so that you can really reflect on your own life and ask yourself that question, am I being the CEO of my life? And we hope our few steps were helpful to give you some time to reflect, get you started thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Another episode. Thank you so much. And we hope you all stay safe and healthy. And we will see you on the next episode of Healthcare's Missing Logic podcast.
Yeah. Bye. It's been a pleasure as always.
Yes. Bye-bye. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Healthcare's Missing Logic podcast, now a top-rated podcast for healthcare leaders. Please share this podcast with other healthcare leaders and anyone else you think would benefit. We are certain that if you found value in it, they will too. If you haven't already done so, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any episodes. And also, it would mean the world to us if you took a quick moment to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast player. It helps to get the word out about our podcast and incredible guests. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to watch our podcasts. You can also follow us on our Missing Logic social media channels, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Until next time.